So we are going to start laying down on your back. You'll be using your Pilates ball, and you may end up wanting a block or a pillow or something for your head. The ball is going to be going upper middle back somewhere in this area. You lay on it. And then, of course, depending on your flexibility and the size of your ball, will determine what support you do or don't need. So if your head touches the ground easily, maybe you don't need any kind of support. If it doesn't, if you feel like your neck is straining, I highly recommend some type of support under your head. It might be a block. If you don't need that much, maybe it's a towel or a pillow or something like that. And then we're just going to lay here to start and begin to focus on our breath. So laying your arms down by your sides, a little bit away from your body, palms up, creating some space through the collarbones. In fact, imagining the collarbones widening, your chest opening. Taking a big belly breath and a long exhale. Now I have my knees bent. That's what feels good for me. If something else feels good for you, you're welcome to do it. Legs extended, or you could even take a TP of the knees with the feet wide. That might feel good. As you breathe, you're going to breathe as deeply as you can. And then as you exhale, think of opening up through the chest and the shoulders and even the throat. Couple more big breaths in and out. And then while we continue to lie on the ball, you're going to take your fingers to your earlobes and pull down on your earlobes. This actually stimulates your vagus nerve. That's a bundle of nerves that are connected to your system that relaxes you. So your parasympathetic system, nervous system, the rest, digest, recover system of the body. So just a little pull, gentle tugging on the earlobes downward. And just doing that a few more times. I'm just sliding my fingers. They pull down until my fingers kind of slide off my earlobes. And then I grip again and do it again. Good. And then taking your first and second fingers, your peace fingers, straddling your ears. So one finger in the front of the ear, one behind, and just sliding those fingers up and down. You'll do both sides at the same time. This is another way to stimulate the vagus nerve, bring you into a relaxed state, a recovery state. Great way to calm you down if you're feeling stressed out or anxious. Keep with your breath, deep inhales and exhales. Couple more big breaths in and out. Good. And then interlacing your fingers, reaching your knuckles towards the ceiling and reaching the arms long back behind you. Bringing those knuckles back towards the ceiling and repeat. Reach long. Breathing in as you lengthen and then breathing out as you bring those arms back up. Big, long reach. Nice and slow. And bring those arms back up towards the ceiling. You could continue like this with the knuckles towards the ceiling, or if you want to flip your hands over and let your palm part of your hands reach towards the ceiling, that's also fine. That won't work for all of you, but give it a try. See what you think. A little stretch in the fingers and the wrists at the same time if you do it this way. Couple more times, reach it long and back over the chest. Last time, big reach. And we bring it back over the chest. And then taking your arms out to the sides like they were originally and drawing a snow angel kind of a movement with the arms. So the elbows are a little soft, reaching back behind yourself. Some of you, the backs of your hands will touch the ground. Some of you, that will not be possible. It's fine either way. Just do your best to get as big of a range of motion as your shoulders will allow. Couple more times, just like that. Keep breathing. Keep checking in. And then bending your elbows like a goalpost and reaching long back behind you. And then you rebend. So just a little variation on this reach. Reach it long back behind you and rebend, keeping the backs of the arms and the hands as close to the earth as possible. And a couple more. Good. And relax the arms by your sides. One more big belly breath. This time, open your mouth and sigh it out. Good. I recommend a little support for your head to lift up and off of the ball. And we'll take the ball out and make our way up. So we're going to find our way up to our wall space now. You'll want a single yoga tune-up ball, one therapy ball, and one block. We're going to be working on the front of the chest. So the first area we will do is right underneath the right collarbone. Placing the block on the wall like this. So this is the middle setting. This would be the flat setting. So we're going to the middle setting. Ball goes on block and then again, right underneath the right collarbone. Make sure that ball is in the middle of your block so it doesn't slide off. Hold the block with your left hand and you'll start to move the right arm like a snow angel, just like we did on the floor, but just with one arm. Up and down, up and down. Palm faces the wall. And then try the same thing, but some variation. So maybe you go whatever range you can with the back of the hand facing the wall. Now, this is it for me. So I'm not going to go any higher than about the shoulder, maybe a little higher. I don't want any pinching, but it does change what's happening. So try that. You could try palm facing the ceiling. All of these variations will feel different, and some will serve you better than others. So really pay attention. And then try reaching the arm back behind you. Palm can face your body, it can face the ceiling. You could try palm facing out with the thumb towards the ceiling, and then bring it forward and then reach it back again. Try some different ranges of motion with the arm internally and externally rotating, the shoulder internally and externally rotating. See what seems to work for you. You could try swinging that arm in front of you. There's so many options. And I'm just naming a few. You might be finding something else that's really just working great for you. Keep doing that. And then let's hold the block with two hands and move your body side to side. So the ball will travel across the right collarbone. So just on the right side, underneath that right collarbone. So if you have any tension in your neck, this is really a key area to focus on. If the chest tissue is tight, tense, dehydrated, your shoulders will pull forward, which will pull your whole system out of alignment, and your poor neck will suffer. A couple more times we go back and forth. Okay. Setting the ball and the block down. Taking the right hand back behind you, fairly straight arm. Doesn't have to be completely straight, but pretty straight. And I'm pretty close to the wall because I'm quite flexible in my shoulder. If you are not as flexible, you will probably be a little farther away from the wall. And then you will also be turning more or less depending on your shoulder mobility. Now, what you don't want is your shoulder rolling forward to go farther. So make sure you are really pulling that shoulder back and down for this particular stretch. So pulling the shoulder blade down your back. Then you're going to feel the stretch in the chest, the shoulder, and into the arm, not just the front of the shoulder. So we don't want it just in the front of the shoulder. Deep inhales and exhales here. One more breath. And then you will need to move a little away from the wall to come up on a diagonal now with this arm. So see what works for you. So it's on a diagonal, the arm is still fairly straight. And then some of you will need to give yourself more space from the wall. Some of you will not, and some of you will not be able to turn as far. Some of you will. One more big inhale and exhale. And relax the arm. We'll pick the ball and the block back up. So now the ball is going to go down and more towards the armpit area. So what you're going to do is slightly turn for this one. So it's towards the armpit on the right side. I'm going to turn a little bit to the left and then hold the block with the left hand again. Repeating this snow angel kind of movement. Remember, you can try some different variations, palm facing the wall, palm facing the ceiling. You could see what it feels like to go back of the hand towards the wall. You probably won't go as high with the arm. And then really tune in and decide what seems to serve you best. And stick with that for a while. For me, I like palm facing the ceiling on this one. That's what's really working for me today. You could try reaching behind yourself or sweeping the arm in front of you. Maybe you try a shoulder press kind of movement like we did on the floor earlier. Or maybe you just let that arm dangle and just lean in and breathe. All of those are great options. If you are able, try sliding your right hand behind your lower back with the knuckles facing your lower back, and then actively bringing that right elbow towards the wall. So an internal rotation, mobility stretch on the right shoulder here. All the while still working on the chest mobility and hydration with the ball, pressing in there. Couple more big breaths. And release. And we'll set the ball on the block down again. This time with a bent elbow, and it can be bent to 90 degrees or more or less. And then turning, and we'll stay here. Again, chest tissue, if it is locked up, dehydrated, if you've got any scar tissue in there, pulling your shoulders forward, that can cause tension in the back of the neck because everything is pulling forward. And then the back of the neck really tries to get you upright again. So you're in postural alignment. So those poor tissues on the back of the neck are always working and they will get very grumpy after a while. So getting our shoulders and our chest open and moved back into more postural alignment will let the neck tissue relax. Two more big inhales and exhales here. And we'll let that go. Okay. Picking up the ball on the block, we're going to find the spots right underneath the left collarbone now. Placing that ball on the block right in the center. Holding the block with your right hand so you don't slip. And then start to move the left arm. So that ball is right underneath the left collarbone now. You know, you have options. You could go palm up, palm down, palm facing the wall, back of the hand facing the wall. Could try reaching back behind yourself. All those different variations we did on the other side. You can try all of them, or maybe you find one right away that's really working for you. And then you could try sweeping the arm back and forth in front of you. That's another option. Checking in with your breath again and again. Holding the block with two hands now and moving back and forth. Couple more movements, couple more breaths. All right, so ball and block. Go ahead and set it down. And straight left arm back behind you. And again, your distance from the wall might be different than mine. So you find what works for you. Make sure again that you're not letting the shoulder roll forward. We really want to pull the shoulder down and back so that the stretch is mostly in the chest, maybe into the arm, and a little in the front of the shoulder. Ideally, not all front of the shoulder. Keep breathing. Think of softening with every exhale. Okay, so on a diagonal, you might need to change your distance from the wall or change how much you're turning away from the wall. We don't want it to pinch in the shoulder, so make whatever adjustments you need to make to avoid the pinch. Deep inhales and exhales. Okay, finding the ball on the block once again. We'll slide the ball down from where it was, and then it moves over. So we're finding the spot close to the armpit. We turn a little bit to the right, hold the block with your right hand, and then the arm starts to move. Same kinds of movements. Palm up, palm down. Maybe you try more like a shoulder press this time with a bent elbow. You can sweep in front of you, reach back behind you. And of course, you could just simply lean in and breathe. try sliding your left hand behind your lower back, knuckles facing your back. And then the left elbow starts to pull towards the wall. Just enough that you feel a little stretch, nothing sharp, nothing painful. Couple more big breaths. Okay, we'll release that. Setting the ball and the block down. A bent elbow, and you decide how bent on the wall. And then we turn away again. Drop that shoulder blade down. Everybody's different on this. Elbow can be 90 degrees, more or less. And then we stay and breathe. Three more big breaths, big ones. Okay. And we'll come off of the wall. Let's come back down to the floor. For the next one, you might choose to use a block. You might choose to use a Pilates ball. So it's going to be going on the belly. In some ways, the block can be more intense because, of course, it's harder than the ball. But in some ways, it's more supportive. So if you've used the ball under your belly in the past and your lower back gets grumpy, try the block. So I'll show you both. It's going to go on your belly. Now here's the block. And we're going to just lay on top of the block and breathe here. So, or the ball. So you can try either. So see what you think. The block is a different animal for sure. You might like it, you might not. And again, you could try the ball if the block is not for you. And all we're doing here is breathing. We're not moving, we're just breathing. So I'm supporting my forehead with my arms in front of me. Breathing into the block or the ball. And then a long exhale. And letting the block or the ball sink in. So very focused belly work. Massaging the belly has so many benefits. It helps with our gut biome because we stimulate all the juices inside our belly. So we stimulate the lymphatic system as well, all of it helping us stay healthier. Helps with digestion. Our vagus nerve, of course, is running through here as well. It runs through the whole front line. So we're helping our system reach a relaxed state, even if right now this feels a little stressful because, of course, there's a ball or a block in your belly. Once we let it go and we soften, it will actually allow us to feel more calm. Deep inhales and exhales. We've got 10 more breaths, your choice. If you want to move the ball a little bit or the block higher or lower, if it's more comfortable to stay on your forearms, like I'm demonstrating right now, instead of leaning all the way over, that's fine too. I changed to the block and I moved it higher. So the block is actually right under my rib cage right now. One more big inhale and exhale. Okay. Coming off of the ball or the block. And whatever feels good in your body to move in the opposite direction. Perhaps you come into a child's pose. Perhaps you round your spine like a cat. Or if it felt good to do some cat cows, that's great as well. Okay. So we'll be taking your Pilates ball now, and it's going to go on the back side of the body again. And the back side of the body, we're going to get some extension in the spine, but it's also to stretch what we were just rolling, or not necessarily rolling. Maybe you were laying on the block. So placing the ball underneath you. Now your tailbone will likely not be on the ground. I do want your head on the ground though. If it doesn't touch the ground, you need something under your head. So I'm coming into some extension of the spine, and you decide how much. If it's uncomfortable in your lower back, bring the ball closer to your tailbone. If it does not bother your back at all, you can bring the ball higher. It's much more intense the higher it goes. Again, your head needs to be on the ground, but it's your tailbone and your rear end will likely not be on the ground unless your ball is super flat. Laying your arms down by your sides, if that's comfortable for you. You have a couple other options. You can take this into more of a full body stretch by extending the legs and or the arms. So we're stretching what we were just doing myofascial release on with the block or the ball. So you're going to feel the front body and maybe the back body as well. And you're going to be here for a little bit. So make sure it's a shape that's working for you. If it's too intense, please back it off. And that might mean moving the ball, or it might mean adjusting what you're doing with the rest of your body. So I extended my legs, and that actually was too much for me today. So I'm rebending my knees. That's what's better for me. Inhales and exhales, 5 more times. And then pressing into the feet, you'll need to rebend your knees if they're extended. Lift up and remove the ball. So your knees will be bent. Go ahead and walk your feet out as wide as your mat and start to windshield wiper the knees side to side. Nice and slow, pausing As you go to the right for a moment, pausing as you go to the left. And the next time you find your knees falling over to the left, you're going to keep them there. Some of you might choose to take your left ankle and cross it over your right thigh. What you want to be feeling here is your right thigh, hip flexor mostly. If you're feeling your knee or your back, you may need some support underneath your left thigh. That could be with a ball, it could be with a block. And if no matter what you do, it's not working for you with the ankle cross, just uncross, but keep your feet wide. And you control how intense this is by how much pressure you put on the leg. So I'm using my left ankle to not just push down, but I'm thinking of lengthening. So I'm pushing down and ankle towards my right knee. So I'm thinking of lengthening the tissue between my right hip bone and my right knee. Five more big breaths. And we begin to unwind. Step your feet wide. And we windshield wiper again. Back and forth. Eventually the knees fall over to the right and we stay. Option, right ankle crosses over left thigh. Perhaps some support if you need it under the right thigh. This should be mostly the left thigh and hip flexor area, not the knee, not the back. So do what you need to do to make that so that you are feeling mostly the thigh, hip flexor, top of the thigh area. Keep thinking of length on that left thigh, softening, lengthening, letting go. The hip flexors particularly will really lock up when we're in a fight or flight state. So if you have chronically tight hip flexors, perhaps it's stress related. And we can soften in the body, which will in turn soften that anxiety in your mind as well. 3 more breaths. And we start to make our way out. Step your feet wide and windshield wiper side to side. And then we'll carefully roll over to transition. I like to use a couple of Pilates balls for support and the bonus of the rolling of the front of the body again as we do this. 2 yoga tune-up balls as well inside their totes. And we're going to release the front of your right thigh. Today, we're going to start up high. So we're going to bring the balls way up by your hip flexor. And I actually like to use one ball, Pilates ball, when we start here. And then I'll add in the other one as I move down. So placing those balls way up high. And I've got the Pilates ball, the big one, by my chest. And then I like to turn. Notice I'm leaning to the right. That's what works for me to get what I want out of this. And then I'm going to relax onto that Pilates ball, that soft Pilates ball under my chest. I'm getting some release in my chest as well because I've got the ball there, Pilates ball there. And I'm bending and straightening the right leg. I'm leaning to the right. I'm releasing the right side of my upper chest with the Pilates ball. And I'm releasing the hip flexor with the therapy balls in their totes way up high by my hip flexor area. And you can try shimmying the leg back and forth, or maybe a little push and pull. I'm going to tuck my toes and push and pull a little bit here. Starting to work my way down. Now I'm going to use the other Pilates ball. Now I've got more support, laying more towards my belly. I'm still taking my left knee out to the side. That's my support over there. I've got the therapy balls more towards the middle of my thigh now. And I'm going to bend and straighten the right leg. And all the while, again, the Pilates balls underneath me, they're doing some release on my whole superficial front line, the fascial line, that if it is tense, if it's tight, it pulls everything forward. And if everything on the front line is over tight, you might not experience issues on the front body. You're more likely to experience issues on the back body because you're getting pulled forward. And as I mentioned earlier, then that whole back side of the body has to work extra hard to try to get you upright. You could shimmy this leg back and forth with it out straight. And then a little push and pull. Push and pull. I might use my toes on my right side to help. My forearms, my left knee over here is helping. And then, of course, I'm getting a little extra belly massage work here as well. All right, let's move the therapy balls all the way down by the knee. And it's the same movements. Straighten and bend, straighten and bend, straighten and bend. And you could try shimmying the leg side to side. And then perhaps a little push and pull, push and pull. All right. We're going to take the Pilates balls out from our bellies and the therapy ball off the leg. Take one of your Pilates balls. Now it's going to go find your belly button, and it's quite low, maybe a little below the belly button, and then take it to the right. So it's under my right hip, really. And then take that right knee out to the right, 90-degree angle, ideally. And then there's some tugging on the tissue all around that hip. Settle in here. For some of you, this will be quite extreme and really effective. And some of you, it will be kind of like you're taking a nap. So either is fine. You're getting some great superficial work on the hip. And then for some of you, you're going to feel a big stretch on your inner thigh. Either is fine. If you're feeling a lot or a little, it's not right, it's not wrong. A few more deep breaths here. Just letting gravity do the work on the inner thigh. A little bit of work on that hip area. Couple more big breaths. And begin to re-extend the leg. Make your way off of the ball. Once again, you could do some cat cows if that felt good for you. If a child's pose seems like that would be best for you, you could do a child's pose. Just checking in, tuning in, and you'll know exactly what you need. And then when you feel like you're ready, we'll start on our second side. So I like the Pilates ball way up by my chest. We're going to be placing the therapy balls up by the hip flexor. So that's way up high. And then I like to lean to my left. That's what works for me. Maybe that works for you, maybe not. And then we can try some bending and straightening of the left leg. And I've got this Pilates ball on my left upper chest, maybe more towards the armpit or even towards the collarbones on the left side. Doing a little extra upper chest stimulation, hydration. Could shimmy the leg a little bit if that worked for you, or perhaps you push and pull, getting into the hip flexor on the left side and the chest on the left side. And then moving the therapy balls towards the middle of your thigh. And I like to use 2 Pilates balls now underneath me. Feels more supportive. And I'm going to lay more towards my belly now instead of leaning so much to the left. And straighten and bend, straighten and bend. And a shimmy of the legs, straight legs, shimmy it side to side. And a little push and pull, a little push and pull. And moving the balls down. So I've got the Pilates balls moving with me, and then the therapy balls are right above my left knee. Straighten and bend, straighten and bend. A little shimmy side to side. And a little push and pull, a little push and pull. Okay, coming up and off of all of that, Pilates ball ends up going now. Find your belly button, come a little below that, and move the ball to the left. So when you lay on it, it's on the left hip area, and then the left knee comes out. And settle in however it feels good for you. I'm going to lay my forehead on the back of my arm. And really, gravity is doing the work here for us. So the ball is tugging on the tissues in and around the left hip. Inner thigh might be stretching a little or a lot, depending on you. Five more breaths. And slowly start to make your way out of this. And once again, anything that might feel good for you. It could be a child's pose, a cat, cow. Maybe just laying on your belly would feel good. And then once you've rinsed that out a little bit, you'll come to lie down on your back. Your block will go underneath your tailbone. Begin to bring the left knee into your chest. You can grab the knee or the shin, or perhaps the back of the leg, whatever seems like it's serving you best. Make sure your hip bones are tipping towards you, not away from you. and then you'll extend the right leg. So this is mostly about the right hip flexor, so the one that's extended. So keep pulling the left knee or the left leg in as much as you can. If you need a strap, you can use a strap. And then think of lengthening through this right hip flexor, the one that's extended. This left knee is just pulling in as much as you can. Gravity is doing a lot of the work on this right side, but you can actively reach that leg away from you as well if you want to add a little bit. Want to do some ankle rolls or point and flex of the left ankle while you're here, that's fine too. But again, the focus is really on this right side for the most part. Couple more big breaths. And then slowly rebend the right knee, pull it in, and we switch sides. The left leg extends. The heel might touch the ground, it might not. Really letting gravity start this stretch for you. And then if you want to actively reach away, lengthen, you could do that. And then relax again. Focus on right in this area, top of the left thigh. If you're feeling it in your back, you're probably letting your hip bones tip away from you instead of towards you. You have to really tip the hip bones towards you for this to stay out of the back. The more you pull your right knee in, the more you're likely going to feel what I'm suggesting you feel here. So keep pulling that thigh as close as you can, regardless. You can grab the front of the leg, the back of the leg. Maybe you're using a strap to assist you. That's fine. So letting this front line get some attention by doing all the rolling of the chest and the belly and the front of the thigh will help your back body feel better. One more big breath. Exhale. Slowly start to bring the left knee in. If your block needs adjusting, adjust it. Bring your feet to the earth first, and then you decide if it would feel good to extend both legs out. For some people, that's too much, so you don't have to do it. If that feels good, maybe reaching the arms back behind you would feel good. Notice my legs are kind of wide. In fact, they're as wide or even wider than my mat. And if you're doing this and you're thinking, I'm not feeling a lot, you could try the middle setting of your block instead of the flattest setting. That's going to be quite a bit more, so be careful. And then you can stay here as long as it feels good for you. And then you'll find your final rest. I highly recommend something really comfortable for your final rest. Please take your time. Thank you for joining me, my friends. Namaste.